Autism, Asperger syndrome. What's similar? What's different? Let's discuss. Hi, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Chris, and I started Logical A Meets World to spread more awareness and acceptance for those on the autistic spectrum. In today's video, I do want to go over the differences between autism and Asperger syndrome, but I also want to go over what they have in common. Before I get started, I do want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to stop by the channel. If this subject matter is something that you're interested in or want to know more about, please click the like. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and please ring the bell so that you can be notified when new videos are uploaded. So the first one I want to start with is speaking and language. With autistics, many of them will experience a delay in speaking and using language. When it comes to those with Asperger syndrome, there is little to no delay, and often you'll find that Aspies grasp language and can use it in a very advanced level at a very young age. When it comes to how we are perceived in the world, autistics will often come across as very aloof, lacking many of the tools needed to engage in many social situations. With Aspies, this is much different. The symptoms and the behaviors are milder than those with autism. Now, I will probably switch from Asperger syndrome to Aspie. It is the same thing, it's just a little bit shortened, and that's why I sometimes use those interchangeably. When it comes to those with autism, scientists have found that the IQ level of many autistics is below average. I don't actually like the idea of what determines intelligence. I know a lot of disabled people who there are parts of their life where they excel in ways that most people don't, where they have their own brilliance. And so for me, honestly, I find that determining one's IQ can be very restrictive in focus, but that might be just me. Scientists have also found that Aspies have a much higher IQ level. In fact, they have found that 44% of Aspies have an above average IQ. Lately, they have done some brain scans, and they took a brain scan of someone with autism and a brain scan of someone with Asperger's. And what they found I thought was extremely fascinating, that though we share the spectrum together, our brains are different from one another. Again, I found this very fascinating because I didn't know that even down to that level that there was a noticeable difference when it came to the brain patterns. So I thought that, again, was pretty fascinating. Now that we've gone over what's different between Asperger syndrome and autism, I want to now go over some of the things that we have in common, whether you are diagnosed with one or the other. Difficulty maintaining relationships. When it comes to achieving relationships, whether it's a spouse, girlfriend, even long-term friendships, this is a big one. There are just traits and behaviors that we have that we struggle with and that many people may find strange, odd, weird. And I can assure you that it's none of those. It's basically we experience and live life just a little bit different than everyone else. And personally, I don't find anything wrong with that. Now, another one that really is intertwined into developing relationships is the ability to express emotion or feeling. This is something that those on the spectrum have a big challenge when it comes to doing. I know for me, when my wife has an issue or something she is trying to work on, she will tell me about it. And for me, my brain immediately goes to, how do I fix this? When actually, it's not that she needs me to fix it. It's that she needs me to listen to what she's saying and offer probably more support than attempts to help her solve the problem. This is a big area and has been something that I have been working on for years. And as I've been able to work on it with her, it has helped me to be able to achieve better results with people out in the world. Trouble maintaining eye contact. Eye contact is something that the world views as either respectful or disrespectful. And the rules behind when you're supposed to have eye contact and when you're not supposed to have eye contact is something that people on the spectrum will struggle with. For me, I have to really know someone to be comfortable enough to look at them in the eye. If it's a complete stranger and I make even a hint of eye contact, it's, am I gawking? Am I staring? Is this weird for them? And then I just tense up and can sometimes become very unapproachable, very rigid. And it's not that I mean to, it's just my reaction to making eye contact with people I don't know. A desire to follow strict schedules. Now, I found through doing my own research that our adherence to various routines and schedules that we do without fail, and these things just, if they're disrupted in any way, it is just a complete nightmare. But I have found that those with OCD and those on the spectrum who can share a lot of commonalities when it comes to routines and schedules. And to me, this was a real eye-opener as to really the broad scope of neurodivergence. Issues with motor skills. I have my own challenges with motor skills. I am very adept with, I have worked on and developed some fine motor skills that I used to struggle with through just a lot of hard work. But again, depending on the person and how the traits and behaviors affect them, being on the spectrum, there isn't a one can't do this, so they all can't do this. That isn't true at all. When it comes to ladders, if it's a very, very small ladder, even step ladders, that's something that I struggle with because there are certain ways that I like to move, and ladders, you have a different type of movement, and oftentimes I can become off balance in those situations. Obsessions with specific topics. Now, many in the community refer to that as special interests. When it comes to particular subject matter or special interests, a lot of times you'll find that those on the spectrum will overshare their knowledge of something that gets brought up that they know a ton about. I find this to be something that maybe goes off, at least in my head, a little light bulb that just says teachable moment. When someone brings up a topic that I know a ton about, my brain just goes into overdrive, grabbing up every little bit of information. And that type of thing is one that I still practice every week on The term maybe most people know, and that is wrap it up. Try to get out what you want to say in under a minute. This is an epic challenge at times because I'll get on a roll, and sometimes I won't be able to gauge whether people are still interested in the topic once I figure out when it's my turn to talk. And figuring out my turn to talk, that is a whole nother talk. Stimming. Stimming is the last one I want to cover. Now, stimming can be a variety of things. Different types of movements, rocking, swinging, picking of fingers, hand flapping, sometimes snaps. But there are also stims that are more audible. Different types of repetitive noises that someone on the spectrum may make. I have worked on one in particular that used to really concern my wife, and I think maybe make her a little self-conscious of what people thought around us. When we used to go to certain events, especially movies, when things began to get very intense on screen, my breathing would change, and with the change in breathing would bring an audible note out when I would exhale. And once we discovered, what was going on, and after I was diagnosed, I began to try and work on this. And now I don't go to the movies often, but I have been able to keep myself a little more calm. When things get intense, I push my shoulder into hers, not aggressively, but very lightly. And I have learned that I can look over, I can look at my drink, I can look at her and take my eyes off the screen and try to get some semblance of balance. And these things have helped a great deal. Though I will say that being able to mitigate how much time that I spend out doing things, and being able to manage that time has been of epic importance to the improvements that I've made. So I'm going to leave the video here. If you have enjoyed today's content, please give the video a like. Please consider subscribing to the channel and ringing the bell so that you can be notified when new videos are uploaded. Before I let you go, I have been working on some things behind the scenes. I do have a dedicated camera now that I have on order that I will be able to begin using right along with a much better mic setup, a mixing board setup that I have everything so far integrated into my laptop. So the aggravation that I have at times when I record with my smartphone and using this little guy here to start and stop video, that will be a thing of the past. I won't have to go and move the files from my phone to my laptop and then do the editing and then do the uploading. So I will save myself some steps. I am very excited about this. I'm also very excited to share that this month I will be recording the first episode of a podcast. I'm not going to reveal the name until I have it out there. I can tell you that I am going to put it on Spotify and any places I can put that don't cost a lot of money, because I am on a very fixed budget right now, getting things built that I want to build. So with that, I want to thank you again so much for stopping by, and I will see you on the next one.